According to the CDC, motor vehicle crashes are the leading cause of death for U.S. teens. In 2013, over 2,100 teens were killed and over 243,000 were treated in emergency rooms for injuries suffered in car accidents. I'd like to welcome our audience to our 27th Philadelphia Accident and Injury Google Hangout. My name is Rene, and I'm here with Rand Spear, Philadelphia's accident lawyer, who will help us understand why so many teens are involved in car accidents and safety tips to help prevent these serious accidents involving young drivers from happening. Hey Rand, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Rene. It's a beautiful sunny day, nice and warm. It's a Friday here in Philadelphia, so we're looking to maybe get out of work a little bit early and enjoy the weekend.
Okay, well, we're talking about a serious topic today, especially with schools being out for the session, for the summer session. Will be more teens are going to be driving this summer. Who is most at risk to get in car accidents?
Well, you're right. During the summertime, teenagers are much more susceptible to being involved in accidents. Generally, 16 to 19 are almost 3 times more likely than drivers age 20 and older to be in a fatal crash. And, you have to look at the statistics. It happens to be 2/3 of it, believe it or not, are males. They just seem to be more aggressive. And the other thing you have to watch out for are teens driving with teen passengers. It's very distracting when a bunch of kids get in a car, they're driving around, the radio's on, they're talking, they're texting, they're just not paying attention. And the other thing is that you really want to be aware of is teenagers are really, a lot of them are newly licensed drivers. They don't have the experience that someone older has of avoiding situations of, experience is really invaluable. So what you have is you have new drivers who oftentimes are distracted with other teenagers in the car, and it really is a recipe for disaster.
Why are these, what factors put teens at such a high risk? Maybe you can share that.
Well, there's really several reasons. Number one, teens are more likely than older drivers to underestimate dangerous situations, whether it's at an intersection or so forth. They just don't have the experience to recognize a hazardous situation. Maybe it's driving at night, driving when it's raining, or bad traffic condition. And the other thing is teens are much more likely than older drivers to speed, to tailgate, which is to travel too closely to the vehicle in front of you. And then again, when there's other teens in the car, they can be a little more risky. They want to show off a little bit. They're with their friends. They want to, show that, that they're in control of the situation. And oftentimes, it really turns out to be a disaster. A lot of the fatal crashes involve speeding. I would say at least 1/3 of them. And then the other problem is drinking. A high percentage of accidents, I think at least around 25%, involve alcohol. And then lastly, the teenage population for some reason doesn't like to wear their seatbelts, which is really very important. So I always encourage everyone, regardless of your age, to be safe, be aware, wear your seatbelt, pay attention, and really do whatever you can to avoid becoming involved in an accident. Because an accident only takes a moment. But the repercussions can last the rest of your life.
Well, you're talking about wearing your seatbelts. I think that's one of the most important things. What's your parent doing for their children avoid car accidents?
Well, I'm a parent, and when my son Michael started driving, I was very, very nervous, very concerned. When I ultimately gave him the keys to the car. In the beginning, I would always want to drive with him, either myself or my wife, wherever he went. We would drive with him. And then, I would sit in the front seat, and I would give him a little speech, and I would tell him, put on that seatbelt. Make sure you're wearing a seatbelt. Don't speed. Don't go too fast. I would not let him have his friends in the car with him. I would not let him drive at night. I would not let him drive when it's raining out. All of those things. If he's going to a party, oftentimes I would take and drop him off because I just didn't want there to be any problems that I would regret. So, it's really education. And you also, as a parent, you want to lead by direction. I can't go out to dinner and, drink a lot of alcohol and then get in the car with my son and drive home. They learn by example. And so, as parents, we really need to set the right tone and the right example so that the kids see when mom and dad are out to dinner, they don't drink because they are driving and we are responsible. And they see how we conduct ourselves. And believe it or not, that's really the best teacher of all. Them observing, without even saying anything, them observing how we conduct ourselves. That really goes a long way in showing your child how they should act behind the wheel of a car.
Well, I think that's great information. Having that discipline or regiment. We are our children's teachers. So I think that's great information. Ran, over your 30 years of experience helping injured car accident victims, I don't know if you can give us a specific number, but how often have you handled cases where your clients were struck by teenaged or inexperienced drivers?
Well, I really don't have a number. I've never kept track of it. I can tell you that this summertime, there's a definite spike or increase in my practice where I seem to be getting a lot more cases involving younger or inexperienced drivers. But it's the whole spectrum of inexperienced drivers. Sometimes we get cases where they're young and they're not really operating the vehicle safely, and then on the flip side, we can have older people that really should not be driving anymore, that really don't have their wherewithal to be operating a vehicle, and they too get involved in a number of motor vehicle accidents. So the real takeaway here, the real key is, to just, when you get behind the wheel of a car, to really make sure you recognize that it's a deadly instrument, and it's something that needs to be treated with respect and with care. And at all times, you should recognize that in a moment, your whole life could change, or the life of someone else could change. So, slow down a little bit. We're always in such a rush, and I don't know where we're rushing or where we're going. We sort of rush through life. But if you would just take a breath and slow down a little bit, you're going to get where you need to be, and if you get there 10 minutes later, it's okay. The key is to get there safely. And so I'm a very big advocate. If you're going to travel far, do it during daytime hours. If you're going somewhere you're not familiar with, do it during daytime hours. Just, think about your situation, where you're going, what you need to do. Proceed with caution, and everything should hopefully work out.
Well, that's sound advice again from you, Ran. If you have a case in Pennsylvania or New Jersey related to a car accident or any other accident or injury, please call Ran Spear, the accident lawyer, at 888-373-4LAW. That's the number 4 and the word law. Or visit the firm at www.ranspear.com. Ran, thanks again for sharing your experience and knowledge with our audience.
Thanks, Rene. It was great to speak with you, and I hope everyone has a safe weekend.
As to you also, I want to thank everyone again for participating. I invite our audience to come back and hang out next time when we'll be discussing a new and important topic. That's all for now, and goodbye. But before we go, remember, information contained in this video should not be construed as legal advice. Content is for information purposes only. Nothing contained herein shall constitute an attorney-client relationship.